Hello, today I'm going to talk to you about the song My Immortal by Evanescence and compare and contrast it with Imagine. Okay, the version by Evanescence that I'm using is the piano version. There are two versions, one of them is heavier. I don't know that one as well as I know the piano version, because I've made a cover version of the piano one, and if you're good I might let you hear it at the end of this video. So the reason why I'm comparing and contrasting it with Imagine is because there are so many similarities and differences, and I'm not saying that Evanescence deliberately based their song on Imagine, because they probably didn't, but some of the devices, particularly in the construction of the song, are so similar and so ingrained into our vocabulary as musical listeners that it's just, you know, I suppose informative really to try and point them out. Okay, the key device that both songs make good use of here is what's called a loop. Now, a loop is basically a chord progression or a melodic progression, or even just a rhythmic progression that goes round and round and round and round and round, and it has a very sort of hypnotic effect on the listener. And Imagine has two loops. My Immortal has three, but we'll look at those in a minute. The two loops in Imagine are linked together by a bridge passage, okay? And all of it goes to contribute towards tension within the music, because like a film would be, you know, rubbish if there weren't any baddies or any problems to solve. So a song is rubbish unless there's, you know, musical tension, musical drama. Okay, so we have the first loop is set up straight away in Imagine, and it's between chord 1 and chord 4. Okay, where Imagine is in C, and so chord 1 is C itself, and chord 4 is F, C, D, E, F. Okay, that's the fourth chord in the scale. All right, so and so on, and you can hear that the effect is very harmonious, and it's meant to be, because Lennon described his song as a sugar-coated pill. Really, it's got a very challenging message that got him banned in various places, and really I ought to do a video about the lyrics to Imagine as well, and I will do probably. But the music behind it is soft, sweet and soothing, okay, just with, you know, the odd bit of sort of spice in there just to sort of liven it up a little bit. Okay, in the introduction and in that first loop, with the bit of spice that we've got, as it were, is the note B, which doesn't actually fit in with the chord C. Okay, it's what we call a major seventh. Okay, so you've got C, E, G. Those are the notes of the chord of C. Okay, and adding the B in as well just adds a little bit of spice and drama to it. Okay, so the whole progression goes C, then the major seventh to F, and then the twiddle, and so on, and it goes round and round, and you can sing over the top. Imagine there's no heaven, it's easy if you try, and the whole musical effect is like a lullaby. Okay, so the next bit of tension really is how the hell do you get out of that loop. Now it's a bit like a kid's roundabout at the play park, where, you know, the kids spin round and round and round and round on it. Okay, now there are two ways. There's the nice sort of sensible, genteel way of getting off the roundabout, which is to gradually slow it down. There's the sort of subtle as a brick way, jump off it. Okay, and Imagine kind of does both. Okay. The first time we need to get out of that loop, and this is on the Imagine all the people living for today bit, it then gently leads us back into the verse again, and that first loop. So you've got Imagine all, and that we've kept the F here, which is the same chord as the second chord in the loop. Alright, so there's just no, it's just a very, very gentle transition. You've got some drums that kick in there that sort of prepare you that something's about to happen, but keeping the F the same. But then the bass moves down to an E, which is not in the chord of F, and when you get notes that are not in the chord, they tend to sound better up the top than down in the bass. Okay, that is very, very unsettling. Imagine all the people, and on the word people we've moved to a D minor, and then the D minor gets its own unrelated note, which is a C in the bass again. So again, very disturbing, leading us to a chord of G. And that G is chord 5 in the scale, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, and chord 5 tends to want to resolve back to the first chord in the key. Okay, it can resolve to the 6th, and when we look at My Immortal we'll see that it actually does, but our ears tend to, more often than not, want it to resolve back to the C. And the first time that we have that passage, imagine all the people living for today. And I chickened out of singing that bit. It goes back to the same first loop for the second verse. But the second time that we get that bridge, which is, I think, something like Imagine all the people living life in peace, instead of it resolving down to chord 1, it does what all the harmony books that I had to study as a student says don't do, i.e. don't resolve down to chord 4. Okay, chord 5 to chord 4 was called ungainly in classical harmony. Now John Lennon probably didn't know too much about classical harmony. He used his ear, and in doing so he kind of, broke a rule. You know, like, you know, every composer had to break a rule to get some decent music, you know, for Debussy for example. And yeah, so he now leads us into this second loop just by the musical equivalent of jumping off the roundabout. Just go straight into it, okay? And it's the You May Say I'm a Dreamer bit, alright? Which is basically F, G, C, E, going round and round. G, C, E, F, G, C, E, F, G, and so on until it just stops on a C, which is back to our key note again. You've got this little bass twiddle, and then that leads us into verse 3. Then we get another repeat of that second loop, and the song's over and it's done. That is essentially Imagine. The melody is fairly important. Always, the key differences between Lennon and McCartney was that McCartney's melodies were sort of very pretty and very take Penny Lane for example, and you know, they moved all over the place. Lennon's melodies stayed still, yeah, same note. and so on, and he kept his melodies very much around 1 or 2 notes. McCartney didn't. All right, that's actually important, because when we look at My Immortal, you'll see that you've got that same sort of sticking to 1 or 2 notes device used again. All right, in Amy Lee's vocals, just 2 notes. Okay, very, very still melody. All right. When we look at the loops that are involved in My Immortal, everything about My Immortal is geared to trying to sort of complement the lyrics, whereas Lennon's lyrics and chords and music tore against one another. Soothing, happy kind of chord structure against a tough message. She's just got a tough message, okay, and I don't really know the exact circumstances behind why she wrote this song, but it sounds like that there's obviously some bloke in her past, as it were, who she is trying to shake away the memory of, and she can't do it, and it's driving her mad, essentially. Alright, to do that, okay, we have got a loop based on the chords 1 and 3. Now she's written her song in A, and so A is chord 1, and C sharp minor, in fact, is chord 3. Again, it's not a harmony book thing that would be allowed. Avoid chord 1 to 3, avoid 3 to 1. The effect is ungainly. The effect is not ungainly, people. The effect is very, very haunting. Okay, so listen to what these chords do. This is A, and this is chord C sharp minor, chord 3. So again. Essentially that goes round. Every other repeat of the loop we do get a slight sort of jolt in terms of the fact that we've to add some spice, just like Lennon added his sort of B over the top of a chord C. We've now got another B. This time it's the second sort of A, B. It's the second. It's called a sustained second, or a suspended second. Probably the right word. Okay, so you have A, C sharp minor, and then you have A again, but this time that is the suspended second, and so it's really, I suppose if you were being pedantic you could call it a 4-bar pattern, but it's essentially 2 chords being repeated, but the second, on every second repetition you get that suspended second. Alright, and that goes around and around and around. So how do we get off the loop? Okay, she does the musical equivalent of throwing you off the roundabout. Okay, because we could get to, because your presence still lingers here, and it won't leave me alone. And you could, if you wanted to, go back and do the same A to C sharp minor repeat. But she doesn't, she throws you off. Okay, and we go to chord 6, which is, it's not an unharmonious chord, it's what's called the related minor or relative minor. And so you've got, and it won't leave me. Sorry, you haven't got that at all because I can't sing. And it won't is there. And it won't leave me alone. And we're now going from F sharp minor, which is chord 6, to C sharp minor, F sharp minor to C sharp minor, F sharp minor to C sharp minor. Okay, so you've got the second loop. Okay, they're sort of quite quick changes, and the change changes off the beat. okay, to build up a little bit of drama, okay. She also, Amy Lee in this case, also uses chord 5 similarly to Lennon would use his, okay, to act as a little bridge, but whereas Lennon had a sort of a build up to it. And now we're on chord 5, okay. We've got this loop, and then we're going to go straight into it. Okay, and now we're into the chorus. Okay, the chorus is basically F sharp minor, and if you were simplifying it, you could go to D. When you cry, like wipe away all of your tears, and you'd scream, and again the same repeat. You could go to a D if you wanted to, but the actual song, it doesn't. It has an E with a D in the bass. Okay, so again, it's like Lennon putting in that sort of that bass note that really clashes with what's going on over the top. So you've got F sharp minor, E with D in the bass, a normal E going to C sharp minor, and then that repeats over and over again for the chorus. So on, and that could go on forever, but chord 5, A, B, C, D, E, comes to the rescue again. But you have, and this time it is held, and we get this lovely little twiddle. Still a chord 5, it's still an E, leading us back to which is you then get the verse 2, then you get that second loop, followed by the chorus again, which is loop number 3. Just basically one loop, straight after another, straight after another. Alright? Now, you'll remember that when Lennon did his You May Say I'm a Dreamer bit, he had his chord 5, and then we go down to you could, totally off key there. You may say I'm a dreamer, and so on and so forth. Amy Lee does something very, very similar, but she waits. We've had 2 verses of these 3 loops, and then she goes into the bridge, and that is where we get this lovely jump from chord 5 to chord 4. Okay, we also have got a vocal line where there's a little bit of an overlap, so that the new part begins before the other part ends. Okay, because you want to hear all of me. Okay, and you could go back to that A, but instead another voice comes in and it jumps down to this chord 4, and the effect is absolutely stunning. It really is absolutely beautiful. In my cover version, I really haven't made as much of a meal of it as on the real record, so don't listen to my cover version, people. Listen to the real thing, okay? Because it's absolutely beautiful, and you get this beautiful chord spread. Okay, and again, there's an extra spicy notes, which is an E, which isn't normally in a chord of D, also adding its own little bit of flavour to it. So you've got, where should I go from? Okay, I've held your hand through all of these years, but you still have all of me. And you have the bridge. Okay, there's nothing really remarkable about the actual tune or whatever goes on in that bridge, but it's just how we get from these 3 loops, 1, 2, 3, and then going into that bridge. And because it's been saved till virtually the end of the song, it's absolutely lovely. Okay. Now, also to kind of achieve this really haunting effect, because the music and the lyrics are both quite haunting. Really, you've almost got to use, like, I suppose, special effects and other things, as it were, to try and also add drama to it. Okay, there's an almost subliminal backing vocal in the chorus, and that backing vocal is the drama. It's the bloke's voice that, you know, as I said at the beginning, that she's trying to escape the memory of. Okay, and there's tons and tons of reverb on him, right? But as she's singing, "You cried, and I wiped away all of your tears," you'd scream, "and I'd wipe away all of your fears," and you can actually hear the musical equivalent of a scream in the background. I can't possibly sing it, and in my cover version I didn't even try, but if you listen really carefully, you'll hear some guys just sort of singing to an R, and it's just absolutely wonderful and thrilling, and it's just a superb piece of work. And so, yes, I did try my best to do a cover version of it, and I might shut up now and just let you hear the cover version.
I'm so tired of being here, suppressed by all my childish fears. And if you have to leave, I wish that you would just leave, 'cause your presence still lingers here, and it won't leave me alone. These wounds won't seem to heal. This pain is just too real. There's just so much that time cannot erase. You cried, I'd wipe away all of your tears, and you'd scream, I'd fight away all of your fears. And I've held your hand through all of those years, but you still have all of me. You used to captivate me by your resonating light. Now I'm bound by the life you left behind. Your face, it haunts my once pleasant dreams. Your voice, it chased away all the sanity in me. These wounds won't seem to heal. This pain is just too real. There's just too much that time cannot erase. And you cried, I'd wipe away all of your tears, and you'd scream, I'd fight away all of your fears. And I've held your hand for all of these years, but you still have all of me. Tried so hard to tell myself that you're gone, and though you're still with me, I've been alone You cried, I'd wipe away all of your scream, I'd fight away all of your fears.